It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. This is a Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 42. Let's do this.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He was a pitcher in Little League Baseball, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. What up? Welcome to another SPI podcast session number 42. I have a great interview to share with you today, which is very, very relevant to what I've been up to lately. Book publishing. And that's right, I'm right in the middle of publishing a book right now for the Amazon Kindle marketplace. This is a self-published book, and I'm going through this as we speak. I'm actually looking at my desk right now and all the post-it notes that I have in my outline on my desk. And in case you're interested in following along with my progress of publishing a book on the Amazon Kindle platform, I'm actually documenting this entire process and sharing my thoughts along the way. So if you want to follow along, you don't have to, but if you want to follow along, maybe you're interested in publishing a book of your own, or you're just curious, or you're a stalker, I don't know. But you could go to patsfirstbook.com. It doesn't matter how you spell first, it's patsfirstbook.com. And that will take you to a private Facebook group where you can choose to join. There'll be a button that says join, and in less than a day, I'll approve you, and you can go and join. Right now, there's nearly 1,700 other people who are in there following my progress and asking questions and offering advice, because some of them have already published books on Kindle, which is awesome. And you know, it's just a great, amazing, supportive, inspiring community. So if you're there already, awesome. If not, I would love to see you there. So again, that's patsfirstbook.com. Now, while I go through this process, you know, and I'm really excited about it, I've been picking the brains of people who have already had success in the marketplace, and I've met several. I mean, that's sort of why I'm doing this. There's so many wonderful success stories out there from people who are killing it on Amazon right now, and you know, just from a wonderful side income to their already existing jobs to some people doing it full time. One person in particular I want to mention just as a shout out, Jeff Goins over at goinswriter.com. That's GOINS writer.com. He is an amazing, humble human being who has sort of pushed me to do this, and I really am excited about it, like I said. So, you know, if you aren't following him already, you should, and I'm going to have him on a later podcast too to share his thoughts about the marketplace, and a few other people too. But today I have someone on who, when I was asking around, you know, I was asking my Twitter followers and Facebook followers, you know, hey, who should I get to know about this industry? Who can give me some great advice? Who should I get on the podcast? And this person's name came up over and over and over again. And he teaches this stuff, and people rave about his methods, which is why I'm happy to have Jonny Andrews here today, accompanied by his business partner, Hollis. So what's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So let me ask you guys just straight up before we get into the details, like what kind of success are you actually seeing with publishing books on Kindle? I mean, if you don't mind sharing, how much are you making, or how many books are you selling? Like just I know it's a huge number, but I'd love to hear it from.
Yeah. Let me kind of steer it in. I'll give you the answer, but I'll steer it in a slightly different direction. When you were researching your stuff for Kindle, you probably came across a lot of courses and whatnot that were published out there that were recommending that people publish, that they look for. The answer is to publish in volume, to publish things like private label rights, basically, books other people have written and that have mass sold, and upload, that way and that kind of thing, and try to make it up in volume.
Yeah, I did come across that a lot, actually. Yeah,
and so one of the big things that Hollis and I like to steer away from is the thrust that this is a business where we look at the dollar signs as the primary motivator, because the way that we look at this is our goal when we create a book, whether we have that ghost written, whether we do it ourselves, whatever, the goal is to provide as much value to the end reader as humanly freaking possible. That the book, when they buy it, it is whatever it is. It could be, vampire fiction, zombie horror, who cares? How to toilet train your cat. I don't care what it is. The book is original. It is amazing, and it is specifically amazing for that person that it is best suited for. And what that does is it kind of flips the entire equation around, because a lot of folks are like, oh, wow, how much money can you make? And the answer is an astronomical amount of money if you first focus on providing value. And the equation really goes like this. You provide the most value possible to the biggest market possible. More than likely, you're going to see some pretty big returns.
I'm really glad you touched on that first, because I have been doing the research and I have been seeing a lot of things, like doing the niche research, just like you would do keyword research. But then when you find a hole, just basically fill it with something as soon as possible. And I've learned that there are some things you could do, whether you provide value or not, to increase your exposure. But bottom line, I love that, providing value to the end reader, and that goes very in line with what I teach on Smart Passive Income in any sort of business model. And I'm really glad to see that that's what you're doing on Kindle as well.
That was the big shift. That was our primary goal. Like, I think probably the reason, my name might come up and what Hollis and I are doing now is kind of at the forefront of everyone's thought process when it comes to this whole method, is because, the concepts that we're using, literally, it's hilarious because it's so transparent. It's so white hat. We literally reject any kind of sneaky, weird, manipulative kind of stuff. Like in the internet marketing space, where, we have come from in the past, where it's like all about, finding the loopholes and exploiting them. Mm-hmm. And that unfortunately led to marketers creating books for money, when in reality it should have been, and unfortunately the authors don't know how to market. And so there was this weird kind of like dichotomy where the crappy books were shooting to the top because those guys knew how to sell them, but the good books were kind of dying. And so what we flipped it around and we're like, let's find the best books possible and position them in the best way possible so that the most people can benefit from them. And it just, it really comes down to it not even keywords. It's about the readers. You find pools of readers. Keywords are actually irrelevant.
Really?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'll let Jonny touch on the keyword concept a little later, because I'm actually only going to be on here for the beginning, so I got to run to a dinner with a PR company because of the success of these books. But, that's one of the things that we look at is if you're providing value to this marketplace, it's not even providing value, but providing quality. Books have an inherent way that we think about them, a certain kind of quality, and coming from people wanting to do keyword research and fill a niche, they think in reports, not in books. Books entertain people. They build trust. They build rapport. There's a lot of things that can happen from a book. For instance, we figured out how to rank on Google using this. We figured out how to apply this to getting on the news and all kinds of different benefits that come outside of the direct money. Mm-hmm. But I know people always want to hear numbers and things like that. But, one of the last books that we worked on, I think it was about 10 days, 14 days, I can't remember, ended up making about $35,000.
Actually, I did 45 in about 2 weeks.
45,000 in 2 weeks.
That's one book.
From one book, how much was that book selling for?
$4.
That's massive volume right there.
Yeah, and the great part about it was the way we looked at it was not that money is windfall, because I look at it like this: is you're spending all this money on running ads and doing all these different things. You're basically flushing it down the toilet, hoping that it comes back to you in the long run. Where now, just by producing some good value up front, we're getting new customers and new people exposed to our message that we're doing with these books, but we're getting paid for it instead of having to go out and spend all our money on it. And advertising costs, the book is the best ad you could possibly business, which is extremely helpful and really helps us to do this. So by doing that and, always providing more, we have a lot more opportunities to not just be limited to the little box we've been put in for ebooks. And it's only growing. And now that the mass market of real readers, not just people who are out searching for things, are literally sitting in this digital library all day long, where they can press one single button and it's hooked to their credit card and they buy books. And they'll buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll buy a bunch in a day. They go on these buying sprees. And, a fun little fact is, Amazon has about 300 million credit cards on file of people who are sitting there buying books. And you can tap into that, and you're looking at a really great customer base as long as you treat them, correctly, and you deliver the value that a book is associated with. And then same with Amazon. It's all based around this whole trust thing, mm-hmm. where you provide good stuff, they're going to do good stuff for you. I mean, we've even had Amazon running ads and sending emails out promoting our books because it's, running up the flagpole, as Jonny likes to call it. And it does do some pretty amazing things when you just shift the mentality of trying to make money from a book to what kind of money will come from a book.
Mm. No, I love that. Now, what kind of books are you guys like? Are you guys just in one niche and crushing that, or are you all over?
Well, it's across multiple niches, but we do try to focus on ones that have enough eyeballs to be worth the time. There's some very specific ones that can do well, but you obviously need to know what the back end on those are. And there's a huge, epically huge difference between fiction and nonfiction, obviously, and how you deal with that customer base. Mm-hmm. We have scaled it from vampires to health to cooking, a lot of different niches, all with different, ranges in which they can really take off in. But it really comes down to the end goal of what are we trying to achieve with this book? Is it to sell a lot of books? And Jonny has a great line that he's been using a lot lately, which is, you're a bestseller because you're selling lots of books, and you're a bestseller because you're selling a lot of books.
Now,
he almost had it.
What is it, Jonny?
No, it's you're a bestseller because you're selling a lot, and you're selling a lot because you're a bestseller. And it seems like a catch-22 until you're able to leverage the natural algorithms that kind of exist within that ecosystem.
Right.
Amazon really is an ecosystem. It's like, if you're in the water, you can fight it and drown, or you can go with it and float. And usually that river is going to take you to some spectacular places. And that's really kind of what this environment is, and that's what it offers you. And so when I came forward with what I knew earlier this year, it was like you could hear the record scratch, mm-hmm. And everybody kind of stopped and went, "Oh, dude, we didn't think about it that way." I'm like, clearly, because Amazon's beating the hell out of you. Because they were literally wiping out accounts left and right and banning people for life. And I'm like, this is going to get uglier before it gets prettier. And so I had to kind of step up and say, dudes, no, y'all doing it wrong. Here's how it goes.
Right. Now, it sounds like you can't just write one book. I mean, just from the sounds of it, you can leverage so much more by putting yourself out there more. You can. It's not like you're going to publish one book and it becomes the bestseller, ultimate, 50 Shades of Grey, whatever. It sounds like you have to put some work into it and put yourself out there in multiple places.
Well, yes and no, actually. I mean, you're always going to have those crazy out of the park home run kind of things, mommy porn, obviously. Who would have saw that coming? I mean, come on now. But the 50 Shades of Grey and Hunger Games, Harry Potter, all those books were these supersized mega bestsellers. That there was something that it was a cultural phenomenon that caught on. And one thing that's very interesting is seeing the kind of reader base. Those people aren't necessarily like 50 Shades of Grey. The people that are buying that right now, that's a lot of curiosity. You're not going to be able to, I don't think there's anybody who's going to be able to manufacture that outcome at that level again. Or at least, for the foreseeable future, because that was a cultural phenomenon. Right now, it's curiosity based. It's not a real market. I mean, there's a real market that exists. Erotica is huge. It's massive. It's read by men, women, and it's always sold. It always will sell. And 50 Shades of Grey came out, and all of a sudden, because of the timing with the e-reader phenomenon, you can't see what people are reading. You don't see the cover, Mm-hmm. So who cares what you have? You could have, something to do with 6 dudes and a goat. Who cares? It's it's on your e-reader, man. No one's going to know.
That's a good point, actually.
Exactly. And so that's the kind of situation in which you're in. So it's safe now. People can explore that, and it's okay. But, it had 50 Shades of Grey come out 10 years ago, never would have happened. Mm-hmm. And so it's this curiosity phenomenon, and everyone's like, wow, that's huge. And it'll get more eyeballs on that marketplace, and that marketplace will naturally grow because of it. But it's just like zombie horror or vampire horror. They have a natural diehard fan base. And then The Walking Dead comes out, and all of a sudden post-apocalyptic zombie lunacy is huge.
Yes.
And then you get Harry, what is it called? Whatever the twinkly vampire people were. I should know this. I do books for a living, and I can't even remember. But Twilight,
right?
Yeah. So you get
twinkly. Yeah.
You get the Twilight thing going on, and that sucks in all these people who are I wonder what else is out there. And so the whole genre benefits from these spikes. But the likelihood that you'll manufacture a spike like that yourself, don't go for it, because you can, unless you're really playing a long game. you're probably not going to hit that. And so instead, what you want to do is shift your mindset to the natural eyeballs that Hollis was talking about. Like, you've got like natural readers in that genre. You've got maybe, I think John Locke might have even touched on this. If you know about him, the first dude to do the 1.5 million ebooks.
I heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting read his book is. But you shoot for the natural people that exist there anyway. And then if you get lifted up, then you can celebrate that. But don't expect it. Expect to build a business based on existing people who like that and are looking there anyway.
Right. And you said earlier about going where the eyeballs are. And, how do you make sure that when you're publishing a book for those eyes, and they might not necessarily be in something that you're an expert on and that, or something that you're even interested in, but that there's a market there from the research. I think I remember you mentioned ghostwriters.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make sure the ghostwriters are providing that value for the end reader, like you guys are saying?
It can get a little difficult, but the first place you want to start is you always want to hire a ghostwriter that writes in the language of your target market. Like, this goes without saying. Like, one of the big problems was people would, they can get cheap articles written in the Philippines. Well, a lot of Filipinos speak very solid English, but the slang is off. Like, a lot of the grammar is not quite right. And clearly, I mean, come on, anybody's going to notice that that's not written by. And so what they would be doing is they'd get like 6 or 7 of these people to write, 3 or 4 articles each, and then compile them into a book. And yes, topically speaking, the information was correct and accurate, but thematically and grammatically, it was just god awful.
Right.
And there was no central voice. And so what you do, let's say you're targeting, the American audience, which is the biggest audience out there, English speakers in America, let's say, who want to lose some weight. Hey, there you go. There's 92 whatever % of the population. So you target these guys. You actually have someone who has the experience in that. So you look for somebody with the experience in that marketplace who can write correctly and that will put together that full book. So I mean that's what it is. You use one person who represents the market. And that's not very hard to find. I mean, it'll take a little bit of doing. I mean, it might take 2-3 days of bouncing emails back and forth. But whoop-de-doo. Mm-hmm. That was the big problem. Is people were like, spend the $2 or $3 an article, get a book written for like $100, and I'm like, no, spend $200, get one book written that people actually enjoy, and they might recommend it to their friends, rather than hitting the spam button and everybody emailing Amazon that your book is crap, and then your account gets banned, blah blah blah.
Right. Okay, so actually, where do you start? I mean, I know most of my audience, most of everyone listening now, might not necessarily have a big enough audience already or platform. I'm actually going through this process myself, and I'm writing a book for my specific target audience that I have on my blog. So my process is going to be a little bit different since I already have some topics that I'm kind of authoritative in already. But if you don't have a platform, I mean, a lot of people are like, I don't want to get into this because I don't have a platform, they still have a chance, obviously, like you're saying. But where do they start?
It really starts with what they're interested in. And I would come up with maybe 5 or 6 different subjects and then check on the bestseller list in Amazon under those subjects and look at the top 6 books and see if their sales ranking falls somewhere between, let's call it 2,000 and 20,000. Because what that indicates is that there's a natural flow of eyeballs there. Now, I guess that's kind of the long and short of it, is you just, if this is a subject that you're interested in and that you would be entertained reading a book someone else wrote on it, that's good enough. You don't need to be an expert. Go find an expert. There's other ways. I mean, you can interview experts. Nothing wrong with that. That's totally cool. Tons of books get shot out that way. You can record the interview, get it transcribed, have an editor kind of break it up. Super simple. So it's like, at no point in time, I mean, think about this. The editor-in-chief of or whatever they're called in the traditional publishing world, from say Simon & Schuster, more than likely that guy does not have a freaking clue about 90% of the books that they're shooting out on a weekly basis. Who cares? It doesn't matter. That's not his point. You can take a publisher model and just publish that kind of stuff and have those things ghostwritten authentically. or you can have someone you can interview someone who is, like, let's say you want to do a workout book or some diet or something, whatever. Go to the gym, find someone who looks like they know what they're talking about, 6-pack abs or something, and go interview them about the process that they went through. Like, what do they eat? How do they sleep? What is their daily activity like? How can someone replicate their physique? Done. Then you just give them a slice, publish it yourself.
Okay, so do I just write the book at that point? Or is there anything important that I have to think about specifically for Amazon before I write the book and upload it? Like, I know, obviously based on my research, that the title is important. That's your headline. That's how you're going to be found. But is there anything else that is extremely important to kind of take care of?
Make sure you have an extremely professional cover that looks good. One thing you have to keep in mind is that this is something like nobody ever thought of. It was hilarious. I put this idea forth and everyone kind of stopped and went, really? I didn't even think of that. But you have to keep in mind the majority of Kindles sold, like regardless of the 2011 Christmas statistics, were regular Kindles, not the Kindle Fire. So yes, Amazon might have been shipping over 1 million Kindles a week, but those were the grayscale. And so people are going to be buying on those. They're not just buying on iPads or Droids. So your cover has to communicate its message visually across both color as well as grayscale. And what happens is most people create a cover that looks horrible on grayscale. And so you end up alienating a good 80 to 90% of the market right out the door.
Because they're buying directly from their Kindle.
They're buying directly from their Kindle, and their Kindle is grayscale. And so if you take your cover and just shoot it over to grayscale, which is, just a little flick of a button in whatever program you're using, and if you cannot read the subject anymore, if you cannot read the title, you need to go back and have whoever made that cover for you fix it.
Mm-hmm. Big, really bold text and pictures, I presume, are eye-catching, and not too much, obviously, because it would then kind of be counterintuitive and kind of get distracting, and people would overlook it, right?
It depends. If it's distracting, then yeah. You can get away with some interesting things. It's one of those things where what's beautiful about the digital publishing world is that you can test it. People always ask me, it's like, hey, does this stuff work with like a physical book? Absolutely, totally. It's easy. However, do it digital first, because, within 20 minutes of finding out that maybe you don't have the right cover, you can upload a new one. And it maybe takes a day or two for, the KDP people and their little minions to get you shuttled out there with the new cover. No big deal. But think about that process with a physical book. It'll be 6 weeks. So you can really dial in your process, dial in your title, make sure that you've got that message to market match. And I promise you, those reviews are going to reflect it. Mm-hmm. You've butchered something. There is not a single person in Amazon who is shy of telling you. So that's why you want to have a really good book.
And the reviews are important for selling after the book is published.
The reviews are almost more important than the book itself, because it's social proof. Mm-hmm. People have a tendency, and I'm like this too. And kind of the way I figured a lot of this stuff out was literally just, I borrowed my father-in-law's Kindle one night, and I was like, holy crap, is this really how it is? Because I never had one before, and I was publishing on this, and it literally changed everything as soon as I had that device in my hand. But you go through and you'll find, if you try to disengage from the marketing brain, which is hard to do, I know. But if you just sort of disengage and kind of look at it as just you as a reader, as a buyer, what you're looking for. And I find it's easier to do it if you go to fiction. I'm always looking for marketing books because I like to keep my edge kind of thing. Mm. And so I'll go into fiction and just be like, what's going to catch my eye? And it's always going to be some kind of highly professional, stunning cover, title that just delivers the message of what I'm going to be getting. And above all else, the number of reviews. And positive, 3.5 stars. I'm like, do I really want that? People now, it's the review. People won't even download a book that much. And there's always exceptions to this rule. But people won't even download a book for free if it doesn't have reviews sometimes.
So how do you, when you first publish a book, though, you have 0 reviews. How are you going to get downloads?
Just go and ask people to give you reviews. You can gift the book to someone and say, hey, read this and tell me what you think. And by the way, tell me what you think on Amazon. So unless you hate it, no, I'm just kidding.
Because I know a lot of people. I mean, I have a business in the iPhone app industry, and a lot of people who get into that business spend all this money and all this time creating these iPhone apps, and they put them on the App Store, and they just hope. They just hope, and nothing ever happens.
Not a fan.
And I know that a lot of people would or probably are doing the same thing with their Amazon books.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there anything that you could do to just boost your sales besides asking your parents to buy your book for you?
Well, there's two things. First of all, do not buy reviews ever.
I'm glad you said that.
Do not go. There's all the
Fiverr and
exactly, like, don't go there. Mechanical Turk, even though it's an Amazon company, do not buy reviews ever. It is awful. It's a bad idea. Amazon's actively sniffing those things out, because if you think about this, what Hollis was talking about earlier, the thing with Amazon is that whole company is based around trust, consumer trust. And what says trust like a fake ass review? It's like, hey, absolutely, I trust you. You 5 stars to the Cuisinart thing over here too, and you're a man in this review and a woman in this one. Here you have 4 kids. Over here you have a dog and no kids. It's like that kind of stuff was happening all the time, and buyers are becoming more savvy, and they'll actually check out the reviewers. And so it's excessively important to have desperately authentic, real reviews and let people tell you that they hate you. Really, I mean, it'll happen sometimes. I mean, if you put a book out there, there will be people who dislike your book. I mean, like, look at what happened to 50 Shades of Grey. They're like split right down the middle. People are like, I love it. I hate it.
I was actually looking at the reviews yesterday for them because my wife picked it up on the Kindle. I was like, really? You got this book? And she's like, yeah, everyone else is getting it. So I wanted to see what it was all about.
And there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's social proof. Everybody else is doing it. I got to know think about this. It's the typical restaurant effect. You got 2 restaurants. One of them is absolutely packed to the freaking gills, and the other one's got like a dead dog in the parking lot and no cars. But they're both open. Which one are you going to be more likely to go to?
Yeah, I'm not having any dead dogs near me.
Clearly, like, who needs that meat in our soup?
Yeah, so I was looking at the reviews, and they were split down the middle, and it was just kind of interesting to see how mean some people were to the author. Actually,
well, that's because she's at the level she's reached. Amazon was sending out stuff that they were the fastest books to ever hit 1 million sales. Yeah. Now, I don't think they've outsold Hunger Games in terms of overall volume, but in the short span of time that they've been around, with the buzz that it's generated, it's really been about, they broke 1 million sales, just as far as I know, on Kindle. That's not even including all the other platforms.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of opportunity out there.
It's unholy. It is absolutely insane, because we are at the cusp of, think about this. If you had a band and you were, like, say, one of the first 100 bands to ever get into iTunes, when, the iPhone started coming out, you could buy that stuff. Just think about the exposure right now. Right now, and it's funny because when Hollis went to the Book Expo of America, so that's like, the big thing that everybody goes to, and our publishing company was new, and we just, we were like number 2 on the Wall Street Journal and cool stuff like that, and number 10 in Amazon, and everyone was like, yay! It was funny. We actually turned down an offer from the senior editor of Penguin because it just didn't make sense. It's like the mainstream guys don't really have it dialed in yet, so maybe they soon. But it was cool because he went there, and the guys at the Kindle platform who were in charge of developing this thing were asking us to give them assistance, because what we did, they said no one had ever done, like, an independent publisher. No one had ever done what we did ever, and they were like, everybody's watching you right now. He's like, and it was great because Hollis does not, what you could call, dress like a publisher. Neither do I. And so we could be schlepping around in sandals and absolutely no one's going to pay attention to us, which is ideal.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't want that stuff. And so they were actually asking what we would suggest they do with the platform. Like Amazon, they built it. They don't even know. So we just have this overwhelming opportunity. Everybody does. And it's like, if you're not taking advantage, because what is it, like, the statistics are like 98% of the world thinks they have a book in them and wants to get it out.
Yeah, it seems like, and I've looked at the process, and I actually helped a friend actually with the publishing process of putting it on Amazon. It was extremely easy. I had no idea it was that easy. It was almost scary how easy it is. And it's a lot easier than building a blog and putting yourself in front of zero audience, as opposed to really quickly after you have a book, putting it on Amazon in front of 300 million potential credit cards.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's night and day. I mean, it is the internet back when there were only a couple of websites, and people were getting lists of, hey, here's the new websites that came out today. Here's this one about punching dogs and this other weird stuff. And everyone's like, yay! But like this is where we are right now. And I mean, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of books, but you have to. And everyone thinks, wow, there's so much competition. No, there's not. There's no competition at all. And the reason I say that with the utmost conviction is because I can tell you, having come from that world. Before I got into business and before I got into marketing, I was an artist. I mean, I've been a writer my whole life. I've been a musician my whole life. I can tell you flat out why 99% of the books die on the shelves. Even the greatest things you've ever read, that have sold, like the best book in the world probably has only sold 2 copies. And that was to the author's mother and probably their aunt. And, we're never going to hear about it because that author had no clue how to get that information in front of the right people. Mm-hmm. And it starts by knowing who they are and then reverse engineering that process. You can have the best book, but if it doesn't get exposure, and that's what Amazon is. It's like basically it's like assisted exposure. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's all. I'm really excited to be going through this process, and it's not easy to write a book, and I could outsource it, but it's this is for my audience, so I feel like I have to write this one, but I guess you don't have to if you can make sure that the quality is good. So I know after hearing this, a lot of people are going to think of what book is in them that they want to write and put on the marketplace. This is the last question. What are some of the most common mistakes that brand new people to the Kindle marketplace are making that people who are listening today can hopefully avoid?
Well, I'll start with the big one that actually addresses what you just said, which isn't necessarily a mistake because I do the same thing. I'm crazy too, and I like writing my own stuff, but it's an epic amount of work. One thing that you can do, and I did this with a lot of the fiction that I started putting out, just because, I didn't have as much time. But a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that they have to, that being an author means they wrote every word of it. Like I would turn your eyes toward James Patterson. He's the most prolific author of all time. I think he made $84 million or something like that last year. Just insane. And the guy works with other authors. And so one thing that I have done many, many times is I will create the outline of what I want. I will say, okay, this is, the story that I want to hear. This is the information. Here's all the stuff. Essentially almost craft an entire, like how video gamers do almost
storyboard. Yeah,
exactly. And then give that to an author give that to a ghostwriter because nothing is more horrifying than a flashing cursor on a blank page. And so I'm going to pay a guy to overcome that problem. And then they give it to me. And what I'll do is literally sentence by sentence. This is just how I work. Because I work better like this, and you might have a different process. Maybe you enjoy doing it from the blank flashing cursor of death. But most people I have found do not. And so what I do, because if I want it to be authentically mine, I literally take what they did, rewrite it, word for word, sentence for sentence, the entire way through. And so all of a sudden, by the time I'm done and I give it to an editor, that's me.
Yeah, it's your own voice at that point.
Yeah, I just needed that oomph to get over that one thing. And so that is probably the biggest one, is thinking that I want to write the book, but I don't have the time or all those things, because then what you do is you manufacture obstacles between you and success. No, let's not be doing that, because that's just lunacy. Now, the other big one, this is probably epically large, is not looking at the audience first. Like a lot of people will write a book and they're like, okay, here's the book. Here's what it's about. I'm like, cool. Who cares? Is that, like you don't start with the end in mind. Like, is the purpose of the book to just be a book? Is it to get bestseller status? I mean, that's easy. You can do that in 15 minutes with a picture that you literally draw in your hand and take a snapshot of it and upload it up with 12 words and then hit your email list and say, buy my book right now and I'll give you a bonus. And you'll get 2,000 buyers. And next thing you know, you'll probably be in the top 100. And look at you, you're a bestseller. But it's meaningless. What is the point of the book? Who is it going for, and what do you want them to do when they read it? Because we have the opportunity now, and this is something that the big publishers have. One of the reasons why they are dying is because they do not get this. And I think that they fight against it, is that these books are more than books. They are a gateway to a much larger picture. And I was having the same conversation with some extremely large names in internet marketing who were like, we're going to get on the New York Times bestseller list. And I'm like, so? Like, that's a foregone conclusion, dude. It's like you and all your posse can hit send, and 6 hours later, you've sold 100,000 copies. I'm like, what then? Is the book made in such a way that it is naturally lifted up by your audience and carried through, and carried kind of on their shoulders higher and higher and higher? I call it a buoyancy point. And this is why we test our books before we launch them. And that's why, when we published Isabel, her book is still hanging out in the bestseller lists, in the top 20, because it was manufactured to be carried by the masses and live for a long, long time without us doing anything to it.
Yeah, so it's selling itself.
Exactly. And you can manufacture that outcome. I'm not going to say it'll become the next Hunger Games or, 50 Shades of Grey, but it's doing exactly what it needs to do to be what it is in that market. So you should do that too.
I love that buoyancy point. That's great. And I have just a couple cleanup questions you can just answer quickly.
Yep.
Ghostwriters, where do you get them? Good ones.
Actually, colleges are pretty good.
Colleges, yeah.
Yeah, try to find some desperate kids who will do anything for $6. I'm completely paying good money.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you preview your book on an actual Kindle to get the experience of what it's like before you?
Software that you can download, and you can there's little tabs. If you go into the back end of your Kindle publishing thing, you can upload the book and then upload, download. So you upload the book, you download the software, and before you hit the publish button, you can make it suck your book into the reader viewer, and you can see what it's going to look like on all the different faces of Kindle.
This is on your computer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's handy.
It is very handy.
And then last question, images. Can you put images in your books? Is it smart to do so? Is kind of a max that you should be doing that?
Yes, absolutely you can. Images do typically increase the perceived value of your book. However, Amazon charges the authors the download rate because a lot of those Kindles have they're connected to Wi-Fi networks, and so for like a split sort of burpee second, they're tapping into the 3G network kind of thing, and so that's costing the author money, even though it's typically pennies. But if you have a lot of large images, your cost can be in the dollars. And I've read stories of guys who had like just huge images in there, like the full size kind of thing, even though you're only going to see like 72 DPI,
Yeah.
They had like the full, what was it, like 1200, like just this epically massive thing. And it would like literally, they were almost losing money every time someone bought their book. And so they had to go back through and dumb those images down. So just remember, make sure the images they're still very pretty, but don't make them like Playboy magazine quality. You know what I mean?
Right. And they should still be readable in black and white.
Absolutely. Very important.
All right, great. I mean, I could talk to you about this for hours. There's so many things that we didn't touch on, but I want to respect your time, and I'm sure there's more information out there to be found through you. So if people wanted to learn more about this process through you, Jonny, and I don't believe Hollis is still here, but if he's listening to this, thank you for your input there at the beginning, Hollis. Where should they go to learn more about you and what you do?
Well, basically, there's two places, really. You know what? I'll just give you one. It's probably the easiest. We're building right now a website called publishingedu.com. That's just exactly as it sounds, publishingedu.com. Okay. And that is going to very rapidly become the hub for this kind of information in the industry and whatnot. Right now, literally, we put it up today. We have a course and stuff like that we sell. But if you hunt around, you could probably find a link there or something. But publishingedu.com. Just we're going to be populating that stuff with tons of info. So if you get there and it's not done yet, welcome to the cusp of a new thing.
Awesome, cool. Well, good luck with that, and I appreciate all the great information. I'm sure everyone else does too, and of course, the inspiration as well.
Hey, no problem. All anytime.
Right. Thanks, Jonny, and thanks to Hollis too.
Cool.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Jonny Andrews and his business partner, Hollis, who had to leave in the middle there, but that's okay. And if you're interested in any of the links that we talked about in this episode, you can go to smartpassiveincome.com/session 42. Again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/session42. That'll take you to the show notes and all the links of the things we talked about in this session. And lastly, as a reminder, if you are interested in following along my progress with publishing a Kindle book, you can go to patsfirstbook.com. Again, that's patsfirstbook.com. I'd love to have you in the group. Just click on the join button. I'll approve you in less than a day. And join the community. And if you're interested in writing a book or whatever, I'm happy to have you there. So thank you all so much for the support, for the inspiration, and I'll see you in the next podcast session. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? You record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips. Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART.